I mean, virtual reality is literally sweeping the branding and marketing world at the moment as kind of the next reality, the next form of reality, and one of the most effective forms of building deep engagement with audiences.
The biggest difference that we see in Glitch from coming from traditional storytelling is that if you're telling stories in VR, you're not really telling them, but you're living them. And that's a total different mindset. And it also requires a different mindset in the creative industry. Let's say, find many brands that are selling their products through lifestyle experience. But they are picturing a lifestyle in a magazine or a TV ad, but you're not really there. You just picture, you know, the nice guy wearing his suit entering a club and all the girls are looking at him, you know. But you're not living it. In VR you can actually be that guy. So when you enter the club, the girls are looking at you instead of, you know, the guy that you see on the picture, and that's a total different way of thinking storytelling, and it's a total different way of thinking branding. And it has a huge impact on people.
Of course. One is probably a lot more deeply it's much more in the conscious. It probably places itself more in the conscious mind, whereas one is, you know, just being received. You know, it's just your receptors receiving that information. So, in Oslo, what kinds of projects were you doing in Oslo?
In Oslo, we are connected to the biggest agency, so we work very close with a company called Kruna. They have offices all over Scandinavia, and we target the oil and offshore industry, the fish industry, of course, obviously.
So how does it work for the fishing industry?
No, I mean,
it's
the
not
fishing,
like one of the first industries that would come to mind.
So we are. No, we believe that the fishing industry has a huge potential because it's about export and it's business to business. And I cannot picture any better way to tell the difference between Norwegian salmon and salmon from Peru than actually putting the person into a VR experience where you are in the middle of a fjord and you'll see the fish jumping, you know, on the fish installation. So it's definitely have a great potential for that industry. Tourism, of course, as well, but that's more, you know, obvious maybe.
If I was a brand owner and I was going to invest in advertising or, you know, this kind of brand experience, what's the level of investment, or what's the perception around the return on investment on that kind of spend?
Today, VR is not just the VR experience. It is the story that you manage to create around that experience, and that's very important because, okay, if you manage to do something great in VR, you have to capture that. You have to, you know, make a production out of it. And when you have that production, you'll be able to share that through social media or on your website. So it's a combination where you kind of use that VR experience that a few people can live, and then you tell that story.
And then you tell the story of the VR experience.
Yeah, and then you got really the true, unfiltered communications from people that are telling their experience with the brands, you know, not being wrapped or packed or polished.
Right. And I've got one question about your brand, your company's name, Glitch. Where did that name come from? It's very,
many
it's
people
kind of
have.
positive and negative, but what's good about it is that it sticks in my mind, and I want to know more about the glitch.
We believe in glitch. We believe that the unexpected and the things that we didn't always plan and the things that we didn't direct it fully, there's value in that. So it's more like art by accident, actually.
Right.
That's why we like that word and use it.
Where do you see virtual reality sitting in sort of 3 to 5 years in relation to other forms of
isn't it all content marketing? You know, from my point of view, this is also content marketing, and it's very, you know, on the core of content marketing. And where, you know, we choose to produce in Turkey because it has much more talent. It's a huge country, and in Istanbul there's so many talents that can, you know, that are hungry to work in this industry.
It's a very young population.
Yeah, and we need the young people because there's no senior VR developer. We need to have those young people, and that's also why we're connected to the VR First lab in Başakşehir University.
Is that an incubator?
Yes.
All right.
So
is that providing training for students who want to get into?
Not only students, everyone can come to.
So I could go there, and yes. What could I do there? Experience it or get involved in how it's produced?
Both.
Both.
Yes. So in that sense, Istanbul was the first one in Europe. So it's definitely a city that has its priorities sorted out in this VR world. Mm-hmm.